Whenever it comes that what is the quality of a particular journal, this sort of question in your mind, then it becomes quite difficult to judge. But the first and foremost thing, if anybody says to you, or the common metric that anybody suggests to you, is obviously the impact factor. In short, IF. But is it the right sort of metric? And is it the only metric that decides the wholesomeness or the sort of quality of a particular journal? So that's again a quite debatable question. So we leave that question because we have already made and discussed multiple times this sort of question in our different videos. In this particular video, we are just going to discuss that is it possible to influence the impact factor? And if yes, then what are the different sorts of ways which people are using, which editorial teams are using, which are being used from readers' point of view to influence the impact factor of a particular journal? So let's see. Starting with the basic definition of impact factor, it is nothing but a measure of the frequency with which the average article in a journal has been cited in a particular year. Normally, the impact factor is calculated based on the last 2 years or 5 years. That's why 2 years impact factor or the 5 years impact factor is normally mentioned on the websites. Moving on to the specific focus of today's work. So here are the 19 ways to increase the impact factor of your journal. And now it must be very much clear to you that impact factor is something that cannot be influenced. You can easily influence the impact factor, just you need the right sort of information. So this is the website scijournal.org. Here is an article which is exactly defining what are the different sorts of ways to increase the impact factor. In this particular article, they are saying that there are 3 categories of strategies to increase the impact factor. One is the traditional approach, second is the additional one, editorial one, and third is the reader-based. So we are going to have the focus one by one. In the traditional methods, they are saying that you need to find the leverage for impact factors. It means that normally the good authorities are oftenly cited as they tend to have more original articles, more cited papers, and the higher number of publications. So people are more likely to reference the research for topical reference. So that is the first point. It means obviously you need to find the right sort of leverage, and then it may contribute to the impact factor. Secondly, the creating a blurb for allowing the quick scanning. If you are having the sort of authors which are providing the good article summaries, including the context, hypothesis, methodologies, key findings, interpretation, and the sort of other things, then obviously it is possible to turn the simple blurb into 1 or 2 lines that allows you to for the quick scanning. Means many times you must have seen that people are asking the sort of highlights for the journal. So just by seeing the highlights, people can decide that yes, this particular journal is going to be the right sort of thing. So that's why it becomes very much important to give the highlighted portion of a particular text or of a particular journal to give the reader the very quick observation or the quick scanning of the whole something, and the reader may submit his mind that yes, I want to publish into this particular journal. Third one is the focus on the niche target readers. So if you have the niche scientific focus, target those scientists accordingly. So many times the journals do talk about that yes, we have this particular niche focus, we are focusing currently on this particular area, and that's why it becomes very much easy to understand that yes, whether it's lying under my interest or not. So then it becomes easy to judge. Then make it peer reviewed. When you have the peer reviewed, means you trust the peer reviewers mostly. So peer reviewers are what means the sort of similar sort of authors or the writers which are having the same quality to judge your work. So that's why they are called the peer reviewers. And the peer reviewers based process is kind of giving the authenticity to the journal that yes, this particular journal is the good enough because it is having the peer reviewers. So whenever you see that there is a peer review process, then by default the authors gets influenced with that yes, it is something good journal. So that's why we should go for that. Then second one is the second category. These were the traditional approaches. Okay. Then second category is the editorial approach. So editorial approach means normally the editorial teams come into the picture and they decide that yes, by doing these sort of things, we can influence the impact factor of the journal. So first thing, focusing on attracting the diverse content. You must have heard or must have seen that a particular journal or conference is taking the papers from almost every domain. And that's why many times the journal title is also very common. For example, one is future generation computer system. Now in future generation computer system, there are hell lot of topics, hell lot of domains which are subdomains which are lying in its context. So time to time they refine their focus, but in general they have not focused onto a particular thing. So that's why you can see, because there might be some specific journals, for example IoT, but IoT again is a very very broad domain in which multiple technologies are going to come and take part. But this is not done something out of context. It is not done just like this only. It is done, means the naming of a particular journal is done very carefully, and it is done according to a plan, so that the maximum possible contributions could have been incorporated under the focus of that particular journal. So if you are having the diverse content range from a particular journal, you can think that yes, this particular journal is specifically focusing to influence the impact factor. Secondly, expand the scope and allow diverse formatting options. So that is again a different point, but that is quite relevant, because if you have published some of the works, then you must have known that IEEE needs a specific format for publishing. Its references should be in a particular format. The document standard means the type of formatting should be in a particular format. But in elsewhere, there is no as such strict foundations. So that's why publishing means just to give your papers for publication in elsewhere is much more easier in comparison to IEEE. So that's why allowing the diverse formatting options helps the author to submit their works, because it is not always necessary to submit your work in a particular format only. And this formatting is not talking about according to the standard or a particular format only. It is also talking about that in which particular specific writing options you are submitting your thing, your manuscript. For example, some people might be submitting in the LaTeX format, some people might be submitting in the Word format. So that is also the diverse formatting option. Now coming to the third one, that is the promote published articles. Many times you must have seen that most related articles are seen. When you read a particular article, the related articles are also seen side by side. Why it is done so? It is done so that if you are interested in this particular article, you might be interested in this particular article too. So search engine optimization, the sort of things work, machine learning algorithms work behind the thing to just give you the right sort of meshed techniques. And many times the most related mails comes to your Gmail or the email boxes also, just to highlight that these are the recently published articles which mostly related to your latest searches based on our search engine. So these are the sort of things which are done by the publishing houses to just promote the articles. And if they promote, obviously you will go for reading, and it will influence the reading, and it will influence the impact factor, because you will cite them more. Then comes the promoting authenticity. So authors as well as the editorial teams try to promote the authenticity of their work, the published one as well as the going to be published under the press, because they do know that if the people have the right sort of labeling in their mind that yes, this particular journal is quite good enough. For example, IEEE, Elsevier, Springer, these are sort of top 3-notch publishing options for normal publishers. As well as if you come into the very best, then the first thing, nature comes into mind. So these are the sort of things why they have such a kind of brand publicity, because the authentic content that you get from there, and they also publish that, promote that authenticity. So the journal gets a brand image. So that particular thing helps you a lot to getting into getting the articles published, as well as getting the right sort of citation. Then you have the promote the journal. You have the promote the journal authenticity, because they are here. I think they are talking about the encouraging to publish the best articles. So article authenticity, and here is the journal authenticity. The journal authenticity, again, that they are following the right sort of ethics, the policies, and you can improve the credibility of the journals with the help of some sort of committee on the publication ethics. So all these things enhance the trust of the readers that yes, this particular journal is a very good one. That's why we should go for this one. Then you have the shortened review process. This is very important, because if you compare them comparatively, some of the journals which are offering the very short review cycle, they are going to attract a lot of readers as well as the authors. From readers' point of view, it is not that much important, but from authors' point of view, it is very important. And usually the impact factor gets influenced by authors only, because they are going to cite the particular works. And it is also a process, it is also a normal means a tradition which is quite debatable, that the authors put 2 or 3 works from the same journal at least, in which they are going to publish in. They authors just want to highlight that yes, we are reading this particular journal, we are taking the credits from the articles of this particular journal. So they want to give a soft notion that yes, we are somehow related to this particular journal, and they hope that our articles will also get published. And similar way, the journal team, they also think that if we shorten the review cycle, then automatically the authors will get attracted and will have the more sort of good manuscripts. So that's why these are some of the things which are done from the editorial teams, and that's why these are the editorial approaches. Third one is the reader approach. What is the reader approach? You need to develop a niche. So when we say that a particular journal is having a very good factor, impact factor, as well as the other things. For example, the researchers make their decisions to have the right sort of publication. Additionally, the different range of topics are aligned there with a particular specific focus on a specific topic. Then the reader gets a notion that yes, this particular journal, for example, there is a journal means Internet of Things journal from IEEE. So when you see the name itself, the first thing comes to mind is this particular journal is going to offer me dedicated focus onto the Internet of Things. It means I am going to get the core technologies related, core focus related articles, as well as the manuscripts related to Internet of Things. So by default, a niche gets that. And this niche is very important because in a huge world of information, you need to find the right sort of information. And it is very difficult because for a new user, it is quite difficult to find the right information. So that's why that trust should come. And if you have developed that niche, that trust automatically comes in. For example, I want to give you another example. There is a IEEE journal, IEEE international, sorry, it's not international, it's communication surveys and tutorials. So it's an IEEE journal, and that particular communication survey and tutorials gives you, if I say, it gives you one of the best survey papers available from the academic houses. So that's why its impact factor is more than 25. So you can see that despite the publicity and all the things which other journals are also doing, this journal is having way ahead impact factor than all others. Why it is like this? Because the impact factor is not only because of publicity and all the stunts. It always comes from the authenticity of the content that you are offering to the readers. And that's comes very true with the IEEE communications and surveys, communication tutorials, surveys and tutorials, because that particular journal is offering you the kind of quality which is not easy to produce. So that's why you need to develop a niche, and it becomes very easy to get published as well as to get referenced. Second one, that making the articles free and accessible. That is quite common because so many journals have gone open access because of this particular point only, because they do know that if the articles are freely available, lot more audience is going to interact with them, a lot more audience is going to read and cite their works. So by default, the papers are going to have wide publicity and the impact factor is going to get influenced. Okay. Third one is the eliminating ads. If you eliminate the ads, then by default, again, it becomes easy for a reader to go for that particular journal and the related articles. And the same idea that comes from the YouTube channels or the any social media channels, that less number of ads, people are going to prefer you more. Then next one is the make article easy to search. When you have the right sort of searching options, advanced searching options you must have seen in a particular journal, then these sort of options give you the kind of access for easy publishing, because you want to search the exact time frame based papers, and then when you get the right sort of paper, it becomes easy to cite them. So for example, I want to search only 2022 papers, or I want to search the last 10 years, 5 years or 2 years papers. Then if these sort of flexibilities or the sort of searching mechanisms are provided from the journal side, then it becomes very easy for me to search the right paper within the right frame, and then I will definitely cite them if I get the right sort of journal within the time frame. Because many times it happens that if you are not getting the right sort of work from a particular journal or the publisher, you immediately jump onto the another publisher or journal. So giving the right option to the reader within the time limit, that is also very important. Then next one is get indexing. So this indexing option is very, very important because from academic publishing point of view, most of the institutions have put the condition kind of thing that for a particular kind of degree, you need at least these sort of publications. So what these sort of publications? For example, normally in India, we talk about 2 SCI publications are required for having your PhD degree. So as per the norms of 2 SCI, so your journal should be Science Citation Index or Science Citation Index expanded. So indexing. So if they are the journal is either indexed in SCI listing or SCI E listing, then only you may be considered for PhD works. So these are the sort of things, these are the sort of concepts behind indexing. If you have the right indexing, it is going to give you the wide popularity as well as the wide trust, as well as the wide recognition from different institutions. So that's why it becomes very much important to get the right indexing. Next, we have the publishing the review articles. And again, a very important point, as I told you, and many times I have told in my videos, that it is very easy to influence the impact factor, and it is one of the most powerful thing that the people do. Because if you are offering more review articles, then more readers are going to come, because most of the new users, most of the starting age researchers, they come in the search of review articles only. Because if you don't have the right sort of background, how you are going to contribute at the practical level? So that's why if you publish more review articles, your impact factor is going to boom. For example, I want to give the example. If you focus future generation computer system, ad hoc networks, or if you see the IEEE communication survey and tutorials, why the impact factors are going high? The reason is that they publish or they focus exclusively on, not exclusively, because FGCS and ad hoc focuses on the practical based works also. But some of the journals do focus exclusively on review articles, and you may see that their impact factor is quite high. The reason is because wide audience interact with review article, and it becomes easy to have the wide kind of citations from different readers as well as the authors. Coming on to the last point, that promoting the older research, that if some of the journals are there, they usually promote their older research also, because many readers usually remain interested in the starting research only. Because whenever you start a particular domain research, then that particular domain research might be having some specific niche points which are not coming into the focus in new journals, in new publications under particular journal. So if you find the older articles, there you find the exact sort of concepts that what was the need of this particular topic, what was the reason that this particular topic got evolved, what are the sort of things which motivated to do research into this particular journal, what are the different related domains, and sort of different things you can discuss with the help of older research. So promoting the older research is also very important, because it highlights that how long before this particular article was available, how long before the research has been done into this particular domain. And all these sort of questions are explored or done with the help of older research. So promoting older research is also one of the key techniques. So coming on to the final tip. The final tip is that being agile and flexible is the key thing. Means according to time, you need to change your specific focus. Time to time, you may see that editorial teams also change their publishing focus with respect to a specific journal. Why it is done so? It is done because just to highlight the right kind of readers as well as the authors. So that's why being agile and the flexible is the key technique. Now they have given the final thoughts based on the citations as well as the citations, and some of the related facts. The frequently asked questions have also been given over this in this particular review article. So I will recommend you to go for this particular article. Definitely it will help you out to know many of the new things. Hopefully it must have been useful for you to know some of the new concepts, some of the new key concepts related to journals from different sites, from different aspects. And if you didn't like anything, please do comment below and let me know what are the shortcomings of this particular video. I will definitely try to incorporate them and improve the quality of my future videos. Thanks for watching. Happy learning.